So I took some time to sit down and really think about someone who's just a beginner to tech sales and really thinking about the big question. Where do I get started? How do I start in tech sales? So in this video, I'm just going to give you guys the whole gist and everything you need to know to actually get started and ground yourself on the journey and start off on this path in tech sales, because there's a lot of things that you need to get in place for you to be able to even move forward and attack this in the right way. Okay, so I'm going to be giving you guys raw, pretty much minimal editing in this video. I'm sipping some coffee, so if you're beginning out to this, whether you're in college and wanting to line something up after, or maybe even get an internship, or if you're working a job that you hate and you don't resonate with anymore and you want to make a transition into tech sales, I'm going to talk about where to get started. So, the first thing that you need to understand is you have to decide. You have to decide that you're going all in on tech sales, at least to try it, okay? I speak to too many of you people who you're interested in tech sales, you're watching videos, you're researching on it, but there's a lack of decision. There's some of you guys are thinking about doing a different type of role, like a solutions engineer, or maybe like a customer success rep, or maybe you want to get into marketing, and there's too many things floating around for you to actually be able to take action, right? You got to decide. Okay, now whatever you choose, try it and go all in, but nothing's ever going to happen unless you put the pin on the board. Think of you have a heist board like in GTA. Okay, you have a plan. Unless you decide on where to start and put the pin there, it's never going to happen. Okay, so you have to put the pin on marketing or tech sales, BDR, or customer success, whatever it is. You can do any of this stuff, by the way, okay? You're going to have to find out what's required to get there, okay? But decide on something, okay? So decide that you are going to go all in on tech sales, to at least try it and then give it a go, because otherwise you're never going to make any progress. And so that's the first thing. If you're someone who's ideating and dabbling in a couple things, pick something, and that's where you got to start. Okay, if you don't have this piece in order, nothing else that you're going to watch online is going to help you. Okay, so once you do that, and I'm going to assume that you're deciding on tech sales if you're still watching this video. Okay, once you do that, you want to set a goal. Okay, set a goal, set an intention, a specific, clear intention. Okay, what does this sound like? So a lot of you guys, this is another mistake people make, is they kind of rush this process. You don't want to rush this, guys. You want to set a goal and give yourself a certain amount of time to work toward it, okay? This isn't going to happen overnight, okay? This is not going to happen overnight. And so set a goal. Set a goal a few months out, okay? In 3 months or so, or in 2 months, I want to be in seat, or I want to land a tech sales role with a solid income and a clear path to 6 figures, okay? And a good structured sales team, or whatever your values are, or whatever you're looking for. Set the goal, set the intention, write it down, put it in a notebook, right? Print it out and put it on your wall. I mean, this is the level that I obsessed about getting into this space for me. And I had a vision board on my laptop where I literally had the goal, and I mapped out what I wanted, how much I wanted to make. Okay, set the goal, because that's going to activate a deeper level of drive in your brain, and it's going to help you move forward and help you keep your sights on what you're doing, okay? And not let you fall into oh, but what about solutions engineer? Oh, what about this and that? Or what if I stay in my current job, okay? Setting a goal, writing it down, is going to help you subconsciously commit and not let your old self pull you back into staying where you are, or just not making any progress, or just being maybe next year, okay? Set the goal. Give yourself a couple months, a few months out to make sure that you're pacing and that you have time and urgency now to do the research and do the work, which I'm going to talk about now, okay? So do these 2 things, all right? Those are 2 things you got to get handled. That's the foundations of starting out on this journey, okay? The other thing you need to do is learn everything you can about this space, okay? This is where you actually are allowed to start watching content. This is where it's okay. Let me just center myself. This is where it's okay to then watch tons of content, because now the content you're watching, you're gonna actually be able to apply it and understand it fully, because now you have a clear goal that you're working toward, and you've decided that you want to get into the space. So now things are gonna stick. Now you're gonna be taking action and moving toward it, and you're gonna actually be able to pick up on implementing the stuff that you're watching. Okay. Does this make sense, guys? Let me know in the comments if this stuff makes sense, okay? If you want real progress, you guys, this is like foundational stuff. You have to have this in place. And the other thing you have to do is believe in yourself, all right? You have to believe in yourself. A lot of you guys have limiting beliefs that there's no opportunities out there, or, can I really do this? Okay, it's just like riding a bike, guys. You could sit there all day and be like, can I really ride a bike? Or, are there bikes out there? Okay, that doesn't really make sense. But you have to like believe in yourself, okay? You have to have the mindset and adopt the mindset that you can do anything that you put your mind to, and learn it eventually if you stick with it and don't quit, okay? And so, yes, that applies to this, all right? Anybody can do this. It's just having conversations with people, okay? Is there going to be some hard roadblocks? Is there going to be some fear, some anxiety to like doing this stuff when it comes down to it? Of course. There's that with everything. With riding a bike, there's fear and anxiety. But you get on it, you try it, maybe you fall a couple times, but then you get the swing of it. And this is no different. So believe that you can do this with enough practice and reps. And if you've committed and decided, now you have the door wide open for you to just start doing this thing, right? And practicing and learning about it. And then when you get in the role, you're going to start doing it again. And they have trainings in place for you as well, guys. This role is an entry-level role. What does that mean? It's an entry-level role, meaning you don't have to be an expert at this thing already to get the role and do it. You can be a beginner to do it. That's what entry-level means, okay? Getting into tech sales with an SDR, BDR role, it's an entry-level thing, which means you don't have to know how to do it yet fully, okay? Now, you can understand how it works, and that can help you give them confidence on the interviews, that you're going to be able to, learn it. But you don't have to know how to do it, but you can do it. And you have to believe that you can with enough reps and practice. And that's going to help you believe that you can do this and believe you can break in, okay? Because these people hire all the time. And I've seen people get hired literally from working at a cafe, working at a restaurant. I've helped people who are working in a spa, a restaurant, just graduated college with no degree or experience get into this, okay? So it's entry level, all right? And so believe that you can do it. Yes, you watching this, you right here, you watching this can do this, okay? So believe that, all right? And then, back to learning everything you can. Watch content on this. You can watch my content. You can read my book, actually, the third link in the description. That's going to open up so many knowledge gaps, and fill so many knowledge gaps that you might have on this. Take a look at that third link in the description. Read a book. Read that book. Read another book. You can read Brandon Bornison's Break Into Tech Sales book. Look up Brandon Bornison Break Into Tech Sales on Amazon. It's literally like $1 Kindle ebook. Read that book. That's going to help you really understand this stuff too. You can read 1 Minute Salesperson. It's literally a book that's like super short, and it can help you understand sales. Another book I like is Gap Selling. That can help really give you a foundation of like how sales works. Now, you don't need to read these books to even get in this space, but if you're wanting to understand and deepen your knowledge, which I recommend, read some of these books, right? Start like understanding how this works, right? Okay, so learn everything you can about it. There's no excuse not to, okay? There's also free certifications you can start doing. And this is all implied that you're committed to getting in, okay? Doing this learning, if you're not committed to doing this and you don't have a clear goal, is not going to be as effective. So I'm implying that you've already done the first steps, all right? Now it's time to learn. There's free certifications: HubSpot inbound sales certification, Salesforce groundwork for success in sales development. Those are great things that you can do for free to learn more. And then also you can showcase those certifications once you get them on your LinkedIn profile, and your resume as well, which can just show these people that you're into your self-development, right? You can also put the books that you read on your resume as well. Okay. So learn what you can about this. All right. And then The next thing that you can do is build your brand. Okay, what is your brand? Your brand is basically how you're perceived by these people, how you're perceived in the public eye. Okay, your branding for tech sales consists of a resume or CV, and a LinkedIn profile. It's as simple as that. Okay, you can literally just like go online, go on Google, and look up good examples of a BDR resume. Okay, now what you want to do is look, your resume is not a static thing. Your resume isn't just like the specific titles and responsibilities that you've had and you're just trapped in that box. No, you have the full right to tailor yourself as sales oriented as possible and get as close as you can to a BDR resume, actually. Okay, in terms of adding numbers, being numbers oriented. Ask yourself, how have I actually communicated with customers? How have I maybe booked meetings? How have I maybe done this? And you can use AI to do this, okay? If you're not using AI in today's age, I'm sorry, you're getting into tech sales, guys. AI is literally like a massive aspect of technology, okay? Start using AI, start getting proficient with it, start using it for your own stuff, okay? What I would literally do here is I would go on Google, look up good examples of BDR resumes, grab the images and copy and paste them into a new AI chat and tell AI, hey, these are examples of good BDR resumes, and then give it your old resume and be like, hey, here's what I have. How can I dress myself up to get as close as I can to these? Give me some examples. And then use AI to like create a resume that's sales oriented for you, okay? AI can be literally your coach for this, all right? So that's what I would do for that, okay? And then what you want to do once you have that is you want to create a LinkedIn profile, give yourself a good header, a good picture of like the background of where you live. Some city skyline works really well. Add a nice face image on your LinkedIn profile. Make it your face. You don't want to have like a vague LinkedIn profile where you're like looking to the side or where you have like shades on. No, face, professional. You can just take a picture in a blank background, or you could just use a picture and close up on your face, but show your face on LinkedIn, guys, okay? And then what you want to do is add your resume onto LinkedIn, basically. So there's an experience section of LinkedIn where you can just add the titles and the responsibilities on your LinkedIn exactly how it is on your resume. And you want to make sure they're the same because you don't want to confuse these people. If you apply to a job and you send in a resume and then your LinkedIn looks different, they're going to be like, what the hell? It's going to be too much confusion. They're going to swipe next on you and go to the other candidate, okay? So get those two things right, LinkedIn and a resume. That's your branding, okay? Now there's other ways to put this on steroids. You can increase your connections. You can connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn until you get like a couple hundred to 500 connections. And that can look really good because these recruiters are always going to look at your LinkedIn before any interview, okay? They're just going to. And so you want to make it look like you're plugged in. In sales, it's all about networking and relationships and these things. And if you have a good amount of connections on LinkedIn, it's going to look really good, right? It's going to look impressive. It's going to look like you're plugged in. You know how to network with people, right? Okay. So build your brand. That's your brand, okay? If your LinkedIn is sharp and your resume is sharp, you have a good brand, okay? You have a good brand and you can move into the next phase of starting to apply to companies, all right? Now, this next thing that I want to cover is optional, okay? Now, this is getting mentorship. Okay? Now, what is mentorship? Mentorship is when you maybe pay a coach to help you basically do this in like a stellar way. Okay, you can pay people, whether it's on like at one point I paid people on Fiverr. I also invested in people who made content about this too and had them coach me. I got mentorship. Okay, and what that did was it filled in a lot of gaps that I had and helped me fast track this, but not only fast track it, help me actually hold myself to a higher standard and help me believe in myself more because I had someone holding my hand and working through all the fears and roadblocks that I had along the way, which happens, right? And I'll tell you this, I would have never gotten into the company that I got into in the time that I did and made six figures in the time that I did if I didn't get mentorship and help because that pushed me. It pushed me. It made me commit because I invested in myself. And now I was really in, right? I was going to make this work, right? And also I had the support and guidance to fill in any gaps along the way and help me present myself in my best way because I was getting help from people who knew how to do this already. All right, so that's really, it's an optional thing that can really skyrocket your results and help you make six figures quicker, help you get into a company that maybe has better trajectory than you otherwise would settle for on your own, right? If you didn't have the right help and belief, right, instilled in you. And so that's what mentorship can do, whether it's getting an interview coach on Fiverr, whether it's working with me, which is something that I offer in the first link in the description. If you want to book a call with me, I can talk you through like what my one-on-one mentorship looks like. If you want to get hands-on help, which I help tons of people do. And I walk them through the whole process, hold their hand and help them get into very desirable roles. Or if it's someone else, right? But this is an optional thing that can really just skyrocket things for you, okay? So that's an optional step. The other thing is create a clean and comfortable remote space in your home. All right. Tech sales, whether you get a fully remote role, which are tons out there, or if you get a hybrid role, which means you spend some of the time at home, some of the time in an office, which can be cool. It depends on your preferences. Regardless, you want to create a clean space in your home where you can hop on calls, because regardless of if it's a hybrid, in person, or remote tech sales role, you're going to be interviewing remotely from your laptop for the most part. So make sure you have a nice space. Like, for example, I have a pretty clean background right here. It's pretty simple. I probably wouldn't have the TV on if I was on an interview. You also could, but just have a nice space where you can sit and you have a good frame of camera. Maybe you have a clean camera. Don't have like a shit camera, right? Have a clean camera. Get a nice collared shirt or a professional shirt. And have a way that you can turn on your remote space and have it be a clean background. Don't have a dirty room or anything in the back, because that's going to make you feel really good and it's going to make you present yourself really well when you get on these interviews. It's going to make you more confident. It's going to make them see you in a different way, because sales is all about presenting yourself. So create a clean space in your environment. I can't harp on this enough, okay? 80% of 80% of communication is body language and perception of like how you look and your environment. There's so many assumptions that people will make of you just based on your environment and how you look. Okay, that's just the reality of this stuff. So if you have a clean background, clean shirt, if you're clean cut, maybe you're shaved, you have a nice haircut, and you show up and you have a good quality camera, like that's gonna really go a long way. I can't harp on that enough, okay? So that's that. The other thing you can do is practice interview questions and delivering good answers, okay? Find a buddy, right? And by the way, guys, if you're maybe wanting to meet other people who are literally on the same mission as you, I have a full like group community that I'm building. It's mainly for people who can't really afford like one-on-one close mentorship, but still want to get like a clear process. The second link in the description is a live group community that I'm building. We do group calls, and there's also many people in there that you can connect with and make friends with that are on the same exact mission as you, that you could do role plays with, you could practice interview questions, and it's just an environment that's going to make it conducive to supporting the goal that you set earlier in the video, right? To get into a solid tech sales role and give this thing a try. Okay, so if you want to check that out, second link in the description, there's a video that talks about it. Someone's honking outside. There's a video that talks about it that you can see if you want to join in on there, okay? But yeah, practice interview questions. Do it with flashcards. Get some flashcards. Write down some of the common questions like, tell me about yourself, why sales, why are you looking to make a change, what motivates you. Look up on like Glassdoor common sales questions, okay? And you can look up AI like common BDR sales questions. Start practicing articulating yourself, okay? Start practicing with flashcards, delivering good interview answers, right? There's also tons of content on this online on YouTube as well. But you want to start practicing interviews, because that is going to be one of the biggest needle drivers to actually getting you an offer. You have to pass interviews, okay? So doing this with a brother, a sister, a friend, maybe it's remotely with someone that you meet in a community, and you have calls with them and you practice. I mean, that's going to be a huge ROI. I know when I was breaking into the space and I was trying to get a solid role like HubSpot, I was literally waking up before work every morning, like 5 days a week at least, and I was having a remote call with a friend of mine that I met in a group, okay? And we were practicing interviews on each other. And what this did was it helped us articulate our words. It helped us give each other feedback on, hey man, like, I realized at one point I wasn't even looking into the camera when I was speaking, and I was like looking around and stuff, and it made me look really uncertain. I was really shy, guys. I was really shy. And yeah, especially when it came to these interviews, I was like scared. I was like unconfident in myself. And so if you practice enough interviews, you can really show up confident, competent, and it can really help you, man. So I would definitely do that. All right. The other thing you can do is like, actually spend time thinking about what roles you would be interested in, right? A lot of people just try and mass apply to any roles that they can find on the market, and that doesn't really do so well because people don't want to hire people who are just in need of a job. All right. If you approach this with a mindset of like, I'm just going to take whatever I can get and I just want a job that will pay me, these people are going to feel that energy when you approach them and on these interviews, and they're not going to want you, guys. People want to work with people who are passionate about the company they're interviewing for, are passionate about getting behind the same mission. These hiring managers want to see that you're like actually interested in the company that you're applying for, that you know what they sell, who they sell to, you know the problem that it solves, and the mission that it has, and maybe the values that the company has, which a lot of these companies have like a culture code or values that they get behind. And if you show up and you know those things, and when they ask you, why do you want to work for us? You tell them all about those reasons, like that's what's going to help you set you apart above the crowd and help you be a top candidate. So actually spend time like figuring out, what do you actually want to work for? What type of tech company? What type of company? And maybe it's okay if it's just as simple as a company with good structure, progression, income, and skill development, right? It's okay if it's just that. I mean, you could find a lot of companies that have that and a lot of companies that don't. You'd be surprised. So it's really important to actually get clear on like, what companies do I want to work for? What type of environment do I want to work for to build out my trajectory or to start out my sales career? My tech sales career, okay? So I promise you, I know this sounds like, oh, I could skip this one, but don't skip it. Actually get clear on like what you actually want, because the process of you going through that in your brain is it's gonna shine when you get on these interviews. They're gonna feel that. They're gonna feel that extra level of passion and drive, and that's exactly what these people are looking for. They want a hungry person who's interested in them specifically, that has drive and grit and knows what they want. They don't want someone who's uncertain who hops on the interview and they're like, yeah, what are your long-term career goals? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I want to become a customer success rep or maybe a marketing person. No, okay? You got to be decided that you're all in on sales. Maybe you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years, and that's okay. But you know that mastering sales and going all in on this is going to open up many doors for you down the line, okay? And that's the mindset you got to have, all right? But you got to get clear on what you want, all right? So other thing that you can do to start out in this is make a list of companies that you would actually be interested in and add it to a spreadsheet. All right. Now, if you're this far in the video, you want to do this. Okay. Now that you actually know like what you want and you set the goal and you're learning about this, make a spreadsheet and start finding roles on LinkedIn Jobs, Indeed. Start using AI to ask it, hey, find me like some really good like mid-sized BDR companies that are great to work for. Add them to a list. See if they have job openings. Get at least 5 companies that have a role open for a BDR, SDR, and add them to an actual spreadsheet, okay? This is another way that you're just going to force yourself to take action, okay? If you have a list of companies that are hiring, that are good and align with the values that you want, like now you actually have enough clarity to like send in some applications, okay? So make a list of this stuff. Get a setup going. Like make your computer clean. Don't have like 100 tabs open. Like make one browser and just have what you need. Have your spreadsheet, your interview prep Google document that you've made, and maybe have like my book opened up in another tab. Again, you can grab that for absolute free in the third link in the description, and just like have a remote space that you sit in and you get work done. You sit in, you're clean, you have a nice background, you get work done. You have a browser, okay? Doing good work is like you need a good space, a clean space to do it. Like if you're trying to skateboard well, you need a good board, okay? If you want to do tech sales well, which is done with a laptop and a camera, You don't even need a camera to do this role, right? But you need a good laptop and a good space. I mean, you do need a camera because you're going to have team meetings, you're going to be doing interviews. So if you have a good space that has a good background, good camera, good laptop, that's like having a good skateboard, right? You're going to do better tricks. You're going to be more inclined to skate more if you have a good board. And it's the same with this. You're going to be more inclined to do the work if you have a clear goal, which you can have on another tab. You can have like a Google presentation where you have one slide that has your goal and you look at it every morning. Have a space that's conducive to helping you achieve your goal, okay? So it's similar to having a skateboard, right? Have a good space. Make your environment conducive to having only the tabs open that's going to get you to that goal. Okay, now I go a little crazy with this stuff, but it works. Okay, so make it easy for yourself to get this done. Don't have too many things going on your laptop screen. Put your phone in another room and tell yourself, I'm committed to this. I'm gonna learn this today, and I'm maybe gonna apply to this company today. I'm gonna find these companies today, and I'm gonna learn tech sales today. I'm gonna finish this certification today. Like, make an environment that's conducive to this. Okay, all right. So if you've gotten this far in the process, like, by the way, don't take this stuff lightly, guys. This is real advice. Like, I don't see a lot of people talking about this in the tech. All right, guys, my mic cut out for a second, but I fixed it. So I don't see a lot of people talking about this stuff in the tech sales space, honestly. A lot of the YouTube videos that I see are just like high, flashy dopamine content, and they don't give you real, raw, tangible stuff to do. And so that's what I try to do with my channel. Now, if you've gotten this far, start applying to roles. Start practicing sending in some applications, making a cover letter, which, by the way, you can get a template and you can get a high-level process that you can execute on in my free book as well, in the third link in the description. But send in some applications, right? Send in some applications. Send out some emails to hiring managers and recruiters at the companies that you've applied for to go above and beyond, and create some emails that just show that you want this, right? That demonstrate your sales-oriented experience, and just gives them a reason to listen to you above the crowd. Not many people go above and beyond to send email outreach, okay? I have templates in my book as well for that too. But just start sending in applications, sending out some emails to these people to just go that extra step, and start getting some interviews on your calendar, okay? It actually isn't that hard. A lot of people just stay stuck in indecision and inaction and don't do this enough, right? They don't actually send in enough intentional applications where they go a step above and beyond, okay? If you do 5 of those, 10 of those, 15 of those, and you've done everything that I'm talking about, like, you're gonna start seeing some interviews popping up on your calendar. And this is your opportunity to actually start getting some repetitions, right? You don't need to put pressure on yourself to like land the first company that you interview for. And you don't also have to worry that like, oh, but I don't want to ruin this opportunity. I'm not ready yet, so I'm not gonna apply. Okay, don't get stuck there either. There's countless opportunities out there, guys. And you can also apply, do really shitty on a company on an interview, and then a month later they hire again and you apply again and then ace it. Okay, that can also happen. So don't worry that you're like bleeding out opportunities if you're applying, okay? There's never going to be a point where you feel 100% ready to do this. So start sending in applications. All right? Don't feel like you're ruining opportunities because you're not ready enough, okay? That's a trap. Start getting reps. Get on these interviews with just the intention to like practice what it sounds like, okay? And then get on it. Even if you fuck it up, reflect after the interview. Okay, what questions did they ask me? All right, how did I do there? All right, now I have a better sense of how interviews work. And then journal about it. Write it down with the questions they asked. Reflect on how you answered them. Ask yourself, how can I answer them better? And then practice, flashcards with a buddy, and then get another interview. And on that next one, you're going to do that much better, right? And then do the same thing. Reflect on how that went, this and that. And then if you continue to just give yourself feedback and maybe even ask for feedback after these interviews from those people, they're always open to giving feedback. Eventually, you're going to have enough repetitions and practice and feedback and to get through a process and get an offer. It's just going to happen if you don't quit. All right. So that's what I really recommend. Start getting repetitions on this stuff, guys. So also don't give up, right? Again, if you keep doing this and you keep getting feedback, keep iterating, keep sharpening up your answers, your interview questions, keep getting some direct like experience, what it's like being on an interview and practicing that, eventually you're going to get in, guys. And you can leverage your network too. Like, reach out to other BDRs at some of these companies, send them an email and ask them, send them an email saying, hey, name, like I see that you've been a BDR for about a year. Look, I'll be honest, this is a career I'm really trying to get into, and the company you work for is really high on my list. It would really mean a lot to me if you maybe even had 5 to 10 minutes to have a quick phone call. My number's this. Do you have any time this week to chat? And get plugged in. Ask them questions. What's the day-to-day like for you, right? What tips do you have for interviewing well? Like, what curveballs did you get asked at the company? What's that company like, right? What's your best advice for someone starting out in sales and wanting to get a BDR, okay? You can network with people. You got to get used to this too, guys. If you're trying to get into sales, you got to get used to knowing how to network and practicing booking meetings, because that's what that actually is doing, all right? And if you have a clean space, a good laptop, a good camera, and a good remote space in your home or somewhere, whether it's a closet, like it doesn't matter. If you have a comfortable space, it's going to be easier for you to want to get on calls with people and do this stuff, or call people and practice interviews and all this stuff. All right. So that's that, guys. Like, start out in this stuff, decide, set the goal, do this. All right. Now there's one thing that I have, one last thing. All right. Before we end the video, don't take a rejection as a lost opportunity. What does this mean? Okay. The number one trait in sales that you need is resilience. Okay. Why? Because in sales, you're going to be getting rejected all the time from companies that you're trying to break into, from people you're cold calling. You're going to get rejection after rejection sometimes. Okay. And you got to get comfortable doing that. And so sometimes what'll happen is these companies will reject you after applying. Okay. And they're testing you to see, is this person resilient? Is this person going to try and, handle the objection that they just got rejected on an interview, okay? And so what happened to me actually when I was trying to get into HubSpot, I literally got rejected. I applied, I got rejected, I was pissed, I was discouraged, but I didn't give up. Something inside of me was nudging me to go a little extra and above and beyond. And so what ended up happening was I reached out to an account executive, someone in the role, and I just let them know, hey, I see you're an AE over there. Seems like you're doing really well. To be honest, I actually just got denied from the initial phone screening interview, and I really am interested in HubSpot. And so I'm wondering if you have some time to maybe help me just learn a little more about the company so that I can be more prepared next time. Okay. That was literally like what I approached them with, and they agreed. And honestly, I had to work to make sure I found a time to get on a call, but I made sure I followed up with them. And eventually I got a quick phone call with them where they actually saw how interested I was. And then we scheduled a Zoom call, and I just hopped on and I was myself and I was genuine and I asked good questions and I showed curiosity, and they felt that I was well-spoken and all this stuff, and they ended up referring me in, and then I got an interview. It was like a week after I got denied, okay? So don't take rejection as a lost opportunity. There's always ways that you can show that trait, that you're resilient, maybe even sending a recruiter an email saying, hey, I know that I just got rejected by the initial screening. Look, I'm really, HubSpot's high on my list, or your company's high on my list, and I really am interested in at least having a chat because I believe I can really contribute to the team's mission. I have XX and X sales-oriented experience. Are you open to at least giving me 5 to 10 minutes to explain how I could contribute to the role, right? Go a little extra above and beyond if you get rejected. Don't take it as a lost opportunity. You'd be surprised at what magic can happen if you do that, all right? All right, guys, so that's honestly, that wraps up this video. I think I covered a lot. I covered a lot of stuff. If you're someone who's trying to start out in this and wondering, where do I get started? How do I do this? I hope that you got some value from this. And I hope that this is tangible stuff that you can actually use. And I actually believe it is if you take action on it, okay? And so, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Again, check out the links in the description. If you're wanting some help and you're maybe overwhelmed by this all and you feel like you'd benefit from getting some mentorship, first link in the description is where you can book a free call with me, where we can just chat about your situation, where you're at, if it makes sense for you to get into this space, and if it makes sense for us to work together, okay? And it's totally casual. There's no high pressure stuff there. A lot of people will just get value out of it either way, regardless of if it even makes sense for us to work together. And so, yeah, feel free to book that call with me where you can see if maybe a mentorship like this will help you, right? Second link in the description is that community that I talked about. If you're trying to meet other people who are on the same mission, and if you want a full video guided roadmap, that also is in that community. Okay, there's a classroom where I have a full A to Z course on how to break into this. I show videos. I literally hold your hand through it with pre-recorded videos and resources. Okay, and on top of that, we have live calls twice a month right now, okay, where literally you can hop on and directly speak with me. It's one of the cheapest ways you can actually get hands-on coaching for this. So check that out in the second link if you're feeling like you want to meet other people, have a clearer roadmap step by step, and maybe get some hands-on coaching as well with other people there too. Okay. Now the third link is that free book. And that's the last thing that you could check out in the description. If you just want to get started and have a clear roadmap, you could do that for absolute free. Third link there. A lot of people have read that book and gotten into tech sales just reading that alone. So don't take it lightly. Check it out. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in another one. I'm out for now. Take care. Bye-bye.